Why is it that many of us are working but still feel unfulfilled? Why is it that many of us are doing everything it takes to be successful, but it's as though there's still this emptiness? It feels as though we are burnt out, and that's why we are here to question these things, and that's why we are here on World Bank Kingdom Conversations for the month of February, to learn that hard work isn't the problem, alignment is. And I especially welcome you to this new month also. It's the month of love, and I pray that this month brings you all the love that you desire, and it's going to be a good month. I'm hopeful, and I'm prayerfully expectant, being a new month. January has done what it will do, but now it's the new month, and like I said, for this month our focus is on the theme, hard work isn't the problem, alignment is. So what is it about hard work and what is it about alignment? That is what we are going to be talking. Of course, Kayode Sanni is my name, and as you all know, I'm not here alone, and I'm here with this very special guest. When I say a very special guest, definitely she's not a stranger to the house, but she's on World Bank Kingdom Conversation. She is a very special guest, and please help me celebrate as I welcome Mrs. ADEOLA.
Thank you, sir.
Good day to you, ma. How are you today?
I'm fine, thank you.
The last time we had you was when we learned about the Jackpot syndrome and all of that. And if you ask me, I think those lessons that you gave on that day are still not left me personally. And here we're here talking about hard work, alignment. That hard work is not the problem, alignment is. But I think a good place to start is to look into your own life. When as a young person, what were the things that you had in mind to do as against what you're doing now?
Well, ironically, believe it or not, I've always wanted to be a teacher.
Wow.
As a young girl.
Wow.
And that was my dream. But I always tell people I never knew it would be in Nigeria. But that's God aligning me where he wanted me to be. Some things had to be put in place for me to end up in Nigeria. But I've always wanted to be into education.
Education. So when you started, you had always had it in you to say education. But when you started, of course it was in you already. And when the process began to make you who you were meant to be in terms of whether being a teacher or whether being an administrator, what part of education was it that you knew you had to put your effort into? You had the mind to say education, but what part of education that you thought you were going to, that you needed to say, okay, this was the kind of work I would need to put into?
Well, actually, to be honest with you, this is in relation to being aligned. When I first graduated my first degree, I taught in high school, but I was very young, and of course my students were young, and I decided then, high school is not for me. I'm going back to school. So I don't think I was aligned at that moment, or that time in my life. And I said, okay, if I want to teach at the university level, I have to have a master's degree. So I decided to go back to school so that I can teach part-time at night in the university. So that's what I did. But I knew then that high school wasn't for me, but now things have changed. I have realigned. I'm preferring high school now as opposed to university college students, because I look at this is the time that's a critical point in children's life that I'm in a position to help mold them into what they truly want to be. Most people, majority of people start out on a path, maybe their parents, I want a doctor, I want a lawyer, we know that syndrome, and that's not what they truly want to be. So in my profession, God put me in a position where I'm able to be the liaison between the student and the parent. Speaking to them, look, this girl wants to do this, and I understand what you want. I know your dreams were your dreams, but we have to allow her to follow her own passion. Now, this passion may lead to what you really want, or she may discover what she really wants. It may be the degree that you want her to obtain, but right now it's not what she wants. These are students that's leaving JSS3 and going into SS1. That's when all the issues begin. And so far, I think I've had a good track record of bringing the parents together and say, okay, allow. I had one young girl where the father said she's gonna have to sign a contract. If she doesn't stick with that, then it's gonna be on between the two. She said she would sign it.
Wow.
And thank God, that girl, she's graduated from the university and she's doing what she went to school for. but the dad had to let go
Hmm.
and allow her to be what she wanted to be. You know, in the process, you'll discover, you'll find yourself.
Hmm.
You know, you may be studying for medicine, you receive your degree and you give it to your parents, here, Dad, this is what you wanted. And then you move over to computers, or you move over to music. You know, that was a big thing. If you remember some of the music artists here,
Yes.
their parents did not want them to go into music.
Yes.
But look at what they're doing. They went and got their degree, but look at what they did, back to music. So they were misaligned, but they was able to get back on track and align with what their calling really was.
Amazing. And so that means currently you will say that you are currently at the intersection of bridging the gap between what parents want and what
Yes.
children should be doing.
Yes.
I mean,
Not necessarily what they should be doing, but what they inspire to do. I can't say this is what they should do, but based on, you know, working with them over several years and seeing their passion, you know, you can see some things in children that they may not even see themselves.
Wow.
So based on that, I drew that conclusion. That's when I called the parents in and said, let's have this conversation. All parents don't agree with me though. Oh, they don't. No, they don't. They're like, man, now you're not from here. This is it. This. I said, okay. I just want to bring it to the table, and you decide what's best for you and your child. But try to find balance. They can have the best of both worlds. You just got to figure it out.
We'll still get to that part because I think this is going to form a critical part of our conversation.
Okay.
But earlier on, you spoke about the fact that you didn't know it was going to be in Nigeria.
I didn't. I
So-
had no clue.
What was that feeling? What was that feeling like? Seeing that definitely you knew that you were going to be in education, and you had the environment. And speaking on this side of the spectrum, I will say you had the set environment already. The environment was set for you to be there, but then it brought you back here. What was that feeling like?
When you say back here, are you saying back in Nigeria?
Yes.
I'm not a Nigerian.
Yes.
I'm an American.
And that's the question. And
okay,
that's the
what
question.
brought me to Nigeria?
Yes. So, and what was that feeling like to say that you had already had the mind that you were going to be an educationist in this environment, but then the environment changed,
Okay.
and then you are here in Nigeria. What was that feeling like?
Well, actually, I had no clue. I knew nothing about Nigeria when I was studying education.
Oh wow.
Except that I met my husband in the university, who's a Nigerian. Okay, and I read education, my first degree and my second degree. So it has been in me, and I've always wanted. I worked at business college, and I've always been in the academics. I worked at Vanderbilt. I worked at Tulane. All of my work history in America has been in education institutions. So I knew that was my calling, but I just wanted something of my own where I can have the impact that I wanted to put into children. You know, I tutored in the university, like young students. I've done all that, but I just needed to put myself in a position where I can have impact. When you're employed by someone else, it's according to what their vision and dreams are. But now I position myself as according to my vision and dreams I created for my school. So that's what I'm working towards now.
Just before we get ahead, can you just talk to us about the vision that you have for your school, and talk to us more about your school?
Well, like the example that I just gave you, that's a big one. It's a part of it, but I'm still trying to create critical thinkers. My biggest challenge is the students that are coming. I think it's the environment. It's based on theory, and I believe in a lot of hands-on. I believe in a lot of practicals, and it's a struggle because the teachers that I'm employing, they didn't grow up with practicals. It's like we had a computer lab, but you know, we didn't go in there and touch the computers. They were just there, you know. I'm being honest, but I believe in those hands-on skills. I'll give you an example. My oldest daughter, I noticed her from like 10, 11 years old. She was always good with hair. She just had a natural gift. Like you can see gifts in children if you take the time. And I knew that was her gift from God. And when time came for her to go to the high school, and you choose which area you're going to go, art, science, and she said she wants to read cosmetology. And of course, my husband being a Nigerian, no way. Absolutely not, my daughter, no way. I'm like, calm down. Just calm down. You know, it's the way you handle these men. You don't fight them. You pick your battles when you want to fight them. So that's what I did. So I put my research together. I found a school that will accommodate her to do what we call vocational education, and the curriculum to be in the university. But it was 45 minutes drive away from where we live.
Wow.
And when I brought the case to my husband, he said, "No, who's going to get up every morning and drive to school?" I said, "I will." He said, "You're going to?" I said, "I will." So I had 3 other children at that time. I would pack them in the back seat of the car, and I drove 45 minutes in the morning. She had to be to school at 7 a.m.
Wow.
And America, we don't play with time. 7 means 7.
Yeah.
And I would go back again in the afternoon to pick her up. I did this for like 1 straight month. Then the next time I knew my husband, like, don't worry, I'll go. I'll do it. I'll take her to school. And from that point on, he was doing it. Because I was able to get him see that she was being fulfilled with what she was doing. She still finished her cosmetology degree at 17 years old, which is very, very young. And she still was able to get into the university of her choice to study mass communication and marketing.
Wow.
I said, you need marketing because you have to market your product. No one can market better than you, and you have to be able to speak proper. And it worked out. And ask me what she's doing today. Cosmetology. Cosmetology. This is a girl that can do one person half for $3,000 US. She's the breadwinner. So she's the go-to person. I told my husband, I said, you see, if you would have forced me to take her away from my passion, look at now. So you don't know what the future holds, but he was fulfilled, and yet my daughter was fulfilled. I was okay. I was pushing for her to be fulfilled, and that was for her to read cosmetology. And by the time she graduated, he opened up her own salon with 10 stations. It was a very big salon. Yes, because he was able to tap in. He could see, as opposed to what the culture had embodied in him, doctor, lawyer, engineer, those things. And he was like, okay. And she's making good money. So I'm very proud of her. She worked in the industry for L'Oreal Cosmetics for, about 15 years as a consultant, traveling all over the world. So she's fulfilled, and I'm fulfilled because she's fulfilled. But now my husband understands that was the right thing to do. It's not an easy pill to swallow coming from this environment. It's not. And that's why I don't get into a big debate with some parents when they put their foot down. I said, well, I'm just trying to find a little balance between you and your child so both parties can be happy. It can be a win-win for both parties. Because at the end of the day, they're going to go back to, they call it, that thing that they really wants to do. They're going to go back to it. There's no ifs, and about it. But sometimes you have to let them, I won't say make mistakes, but let them pursue what they think they want at the time, and then they'll get realigned later on in life. It happens all the time. People change career all the time. You may been in school, say, okay, I want to be a doctor later on. Before you even finish SS2, oh, I want to be an engineer. Yeah. It happens. So I believe in free will for children. Allow them, because I believe if we do that, they'll give it 110%. Versus, I'm doing this because my dad wants this degree. When I finish, I'm going to do my own thing. And that's what's happened to a lot of children today, unfortunately.
Amazing. Still on this idea of environment.
Okay.
Right. You started off on your own natural habitat.
Yes.
Where you were born, where you schooled, and then you got married, and then you have to come here, dealing with different cultural ideology.
Yes.
How was that for you, and how have you been able to navigate through that process?
I will not lie, it was not easy, because being born and raised in America, our thought process is different from the way Nigerians think. We think differently. We're more based on morals and doing the right thing, so to speak. Please don't let this get me into trouble. So I struggled. I was a consultant for UCH for 8 years, and I struggled because of some things that I didn't believe in. But I would come to pastor, I don't believe in bribing people. What is all this? It was foreign to me, because I'm taught, you work hard and you get the benefits of your hard work, not to cut corners. And I struggled with it. I lost a lot of contracts because I refused to do that. I refused. I said I can't do it. It's against myself as a human being. I can't do it, and I don't want to compromise and then later on be regretting or maybe miss heaven because of it. Who knows? Nobody can really say until we get to that point. But that was always my thought, and I'm like, I can't do it, and I'll let the contract go.
Until now, how have you been able to navigate through that?
I still have challenges when different officials come into the school. But they know me now. We don't want to see her. She won't budge. So they know me. She's not going to budge. She's not going to go up. And, I would tell them, say, well, find something for us. Find what? Did you tell me you were coming? I didn't know you were coming. I don't have any cash. I don't have any allowance in my budget to give anything. So that's just me. It's a choice. It's a decision that I made as an individual. My biggest challenge, I would say, would be the language barrier. Because I hear, and most people say, you don't hear Yoruba. I do hear Yoruba. I don't understand Yoruba. There's a difference in hearing and understanding. So that has been my biggest challenge. I understand little, some basic thing, but I just kind of keep it to myself. And sometime every now and then it may slip. I may say something, Pele, something, something may slip out. And you understand? I'm like, no, I don't speak it. But that has been a big challenge for me. But most of the situations I find myself is English speaking, so that's how I maneuver.
Now let's go back to you and your work. Thankfully, you started off on the note that you had always known that you were going to be an educationist. But looking back now, would you say that there was a time in your life where you were doing the right things, you were working like you ought to work, but it felt as though maybe I shouldn't be in this education thing?
Well, I had a break after my second child. We had two daughters, and then I took a break. I took a 7-year break.
Wow.
Yes, 7 years. And that's when I did my master's part-time. So I wasn't really teaching engagement, but then I started working as administrator. So I've always been in the cross between education and administration. Those two is like a win-win. It's a win-win because you get to set rules and policies and things that can, in line with what your dreams and visions are for whatever you're doing. And then the education, you get to impact. You get to really impact children. And there's nothing like the joy whenever I travel home. And some of my students I don't even remember, to be honest with you. And they'll just come, Miss ADEOLA, how are you? Do you remember me? And I'm like, yes, how are you? I don't remember them. But they remember me and say, you was tough. You laughed, you smiled. But when it came to work, you was tough. I said, really? Say, yes. I didn't realize that. So they will tell you, they'll give you a picture of what you're like. So because of that, I started this program at my school called Role Reversal. And what we just had it last week. And what we do, the students in the school can be any staff that they choose. Any staff. And they will dress like them, walk like them, teach like them, do everything that staff does. And then the staff become the students. Now people wonder, why is she doing that? It gives me a glimpse in how the student sees you as a teacher. Maybe you're too harsh. Maybe you don't, because they're going to repeat everything that teacher says. You're going to learn everything about that teacher. Yes, those students, they're innocent. They're going to act it out to a T. They're going to teach how you taught chemistry to them. They're going to break it down on the board. And now, like for example, all the staff, I said, we're going into the school bus. I said, yes, there were videos coming off the school bus. It's hot. So now you know what the students go through. So now we putting ourselves in their shoes. I say, so now when I say line up, everybody must be ready to enter the school bus at the same time so the school bus can move and the fresh air can come in. Whereas to have some students on the bus sitting 10 minutes waiting on a teacher to release her students. So now they sit on the hot bus. I say, now you know what they go through. So it's nothing like putting yourself in another person's shoes. It really changes. So it really helped me. And even the teachers, it's like, wow. And there's some teachers like, nobody wanted to be me. I said, now look inward. Why didn't they want to be you?
Wow.
What is it about you? Look inward. Is there something you're not doing? Is there something you should be doing? You have to, why 5 people want to be, we had little boys that was coming out being like a pregnant teacher. It was hilarious. And these children were in primary. Teachers in high school. They're not even teaching them. But that goes to show people are monitoring you. They're watching you. Children are watching everything you do, and you don't really. I had students that wanted to be me, and they just like, are you sure that's me? Do I do that? Yes. If you don't sit down, if I come out, I said, oh my goodness. So they will act it out. So to me, I'm having fun. I'm in my calling. I'm enjoying myself. I go and exercise with them. I go to the track with them. Believe it or not, I'm just enjoying myself.
I mean that must be.
So I'm fulfilled.
I mean that's amazing. Just out of curiosity, again, you started off on the note that you had always known that you were going to be in education.
Yes.
What were the things that you, thinking in hindsight now, thinking back now, what were the things that you think helped you to be able to quickly discover that?
A teacher. My math teacher. And I don't like math. I shouldn't say that on TV. But my math teacher. Remember, I said as children, you observing teachers. And this math teacher in particular, I just liked the way he was teaching. He was patient. And he just really worked with students to really teach them math. I think it was like in maybe 3rd grade thereabout. And that's when I drew that to see. But I didn't say I want to teach math. I just wanted to be a teacher. I didn't know what area, but I didn't want to teach. But later on, as I worked part-time in different secretarial positions, I realized I like administration. I love secretarial work. So that's why I did my master's in education administration and supervision. So I keep with the education and also had administrative teaching with my degree. So I think that was a change in about third grade. Mr. Macmillan is his name, by the way.
Amazing.
It's funny, even if I ask you, what teacher do you remember that impact your life the most? Whether it was nursery, primary, high school, you would name one or two, and you would say, "Oh, he was tough on us. He was difficult. He was right."
True.
Impact.
True.
Impact.
True.
It happens.
And what's amazing for me is that you chose teaching profession as at that time, as against a time when someone would have said scientist, a doctor, and all of that, being a teacher. And I think that's really amazing. So now that we are here, because like I said, I felt like this conversation is going to be leaning towards more of parents, children in that direction. But just before we get there again,
Okay.
why is it that people are working, putting in everything, but still feel unfulfilled?
Well, you have moments like that in your life. The Bible says there'll be trials and tribulations. Everything is not smooth. You probably see me as a certain level, a certain position, but I wasn't always like this. Life is in phases. So for me, you have to work hard. But then at some point, then you work smart. That's my belief. I guess that's where the alignment come in. You work hard when you're younger. You put things together, go to school, get your degree, get the work experience that you need, and build yourself up. But as you get older, you realize it's time for a transition. Like right now, I'm transitioning. Even I'm still transitioning because I enjoy what I'm doing so much. It's hard to release it. It's difficult because my children say, "Mom, you need to stay home with this." I said, "No. I enjoy what I'm doing. I really don't think I can retire because I enjoy what I'm doing." So you come to that point where you say, "Okay, it's time for me to realign. It's time for me to go and do something else as a hobby." Because some people may work all their life in a profession that's not their calling.
Exactly.
That's not their calling.
So for that kind of person, because this thing just from one conversation now, different. I have a direction, but the more answers I get, it keeps on taking me back again. I feel we are now at a critical point. You said people are in a profession that they're not. That's not in their calling.
Yeah.
So for that kind of person, what can be done? Because the strange part of it is that someone can be in a profession, earn the biggest money, be financially okay, but still not be in that calling and still feel unfulfilled.
Of course, it happens all
So
the
what's the
time.
solution for that kind of person?
I think the solution is for the person to be honest with themselves. You have to in my opinion, you have to sit down and say, which one do I value most? My personal fulfillment or the money? If they're paying you, let's say $1 million, Naira a month, and you're not happy in that current position, but that money will keep you there. But what you fail to realize, you're giving away all your good years because you're chasing after money. Are you with me?
Yes.
You're chasing after the money. You want that $1 million Naira salary, but you're forfeiting your own happiness when you could have been working towards your happiness and eventually be in line with what you want, and then you make that $1 million Naira, you make more than that $1 million Naira. I always wanted a school, but I was 50 years old when I started my school. Yes.
Whoa.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. So it wasn't like I started in my 30s or 40s. I was 50. Yes. So things had to be aligned correctly for it to happen. I have been, like I said, I was consulting for UCH. I was training teachers in Oyo State, Lagos State, and Ondo State before I opened my school. And at some point, I'm like, I have to do this. So I told my husband, I have to start this school. I'm training other people how to run good schools. What about me? It's my time. Yeah, it's my time. It's my time. Did we have the money? No. But I made a decision. Every contract that I did, I would spend so much buying furniture. See, Pastor always says you should have goals and have plans. I planned. If you saw my garage, I had 2 garages filled with school equipment. I didn't have a school. Desks, chairs, I didn't have a school. Shelves, I didn't have a school. But I was planning because I knew this is where I was going. You understand? All this is going to align to where I want to be, and that's to have a school. Now, we started looking. I find a building, and my husband said, no, I said, you need to find the money. This is the building I want. This is the building. and something would go wrong. We won't come, and then somebody else would grab the building, and I'd be furious. When I say fear, I will be furious with my. I say it's your fault. I didn't get this bill. But he would say, God said that's not the one for you. I said, don't say that to me. Is that what I want to hear? Did God say? Did you hear God say?
Wow.
Out of anger, I would say, did you hear God say? Did God tell you that's not the one? He still was standing on that to today. Like 2 or 3 buildings, and I didn't get it. Then the third building, I said, this is it. This okay. If you don't get this building, I'm done. I'm just fed up. I'm gonna abandon the whole idea of having a school. And the money they was wanting was too much. There was another couple that was there waiting to would look at the same building. They overheard our conversation. I offered her something. She said, no, I can't take it. I can't accept it. So they came in and offered them exactly what they wanted after us. Then about 2 weeks later, my phone rang. Madam, we're going to give the building to you for the money you asked. I said, excuse me? The money you asked for, we're going to give you the building. Can we meet? I'm like, who is this on the phone? Because I really reduced the amount. But I'm playing it safe what I think I can afford. Because when you open a school, you don't know how many students you're going to have. I started with 3 students. One was my grandson, so he didn't have a choice.
Well, like 2.
He didn't have a choice, so really 2. And I'm like, is this for real? That's when you know things are aligning. That was God. That was God. The exact amount, I said, this is what I can afford to pay. And the other people, we heard them because we were standing nearby. They offered her like hundreds of thousands more. And yes. And she said, my spirit just said, you should be the one to have it. I just said, thank you. I just said, thank you, Jesus. That's it. So at that point, the alignment was there. The timing was right. Those other buildings, the timing was not right. And it was a very good location in Shop Corner. And I was there for like 12, almost 13 years. So it was a very good location. But now God has blessed us to the next level. We have built our own building. So alignment. When we was looking for the land, I don't think we had 3 million naira. So how are we going to buy land? But things just worked out. That's when it's your time, it's your time. That's what my husband keeps saying. Baby, when it's our time, it's our time. God will work it out for us. And I would say I'm more religious than what he is. But he would always use it. Look, when God says our time, you will see things will come together. How we came with that money for the land. I know I sold my car. I had a red Mercedes, if you guys can remember.
Wow.
We had a black BMW. We sold. I'm like, it's just a car. I'm not caught up on material things. I'm looking at, this is investment. I'm a business person. I'm an entrepreneur. This is investment. I make the money, I can buy another car. You understand? And that was the only money that we gathered. And then things start coming together. Contracts will come. This. And before you know it, we close the deal.
Amazing.
Yes.
Again, back to how you started that you had already known. But we have lots of people, young people. I'll use my own generation, for example, including myself.
Okay.
Where some of us knew what we wanted to do. Maybe just they didn't know the direction. But many people don't know, especially for people who were which was just about survival, especially in this part of the world.
True.
Many people
Very
are raised
survival,
just to survive.
You're right, absolutely.
So if we had to look into your own life and the experience you've had and the wisdom that you've been able to garner over the years, what is that one thing, or what are those things to help that kind of person that now we are here, you've been pushed by survival?
Okay. I don't want you or people to think my background was all glory. It wasn't. Because I grew up without parents. You see? So when I met my husband, like, you don't have your mother, your dad? I said, yes, they both late. And you own a car? I'm like, yes. How did you? I said, I worked and I bought it. So I, again, think that if you're lacking some things, you find a way to fill in the gap. Versus someone who have, we say, a silver spoon on everything laid out, their parents are wealthy, provide everything for you. I look at some Nigerians also that come to America, and they come from wealthy backgrounds, and I look at the end results. It's not too pleasing. Then I look at some that come from, let me say, poor families, and they excel. I think that's what happened to me, because I know that I have nobody to turn to. If I don't make this thing happen, who's going to make it happen for me? So that should be the mindset of everybody, whether you have parents or not, because parents are going to age, and then things may be not as financially stable as it was when you were growing up. So you have to say, how do I make this happen? What can I do? What passion? I have 2, 3 passions. In your case, it may be recording, it may be playing music, I don't know. But you have to say, okay, I have 4 passions. Which one of these that I can use now for survival? Because that survival is a distraction. Most people miss their calling because there's too, especially in America now, because they're too busy trying to survive. They will, like say, if you were a musician, you stop doing recording your music because you have to work a job to keep a roof over your head, to eat, to pay your bills, your rent, your light, your water, all those things. So now you've been derailed. Are you getting me? So now your dream is to record or become a musician, but because you're in survival mode, that's how you have to get yourself out of survival mode and say, okay, I'm going to do the bare minimum. That's what my husband and I did.
I'm going to do the bare minimum.
I'm going to do the bare minimum so I can save this money. I did the envelope system. I don't know if you remember Dave Ramsey. Pastor's taught in church so many times. Dave Ramsey, you have 3 envelopes. I did that. I'll have my envelope. This is how many blocks I can buy with this money. This is before we built the house. But that was one of the criteria before me to come back to Nigeria to live on a permanent basis. I can come. I just come every other year. I'll bring my children because I wanted them to know where their dad's from and learn the culture. But to live on a permanent basis, my criteria was to have my own home. I won't do it. And he's like, no problem. Wherever you want to live, you pick the place. So I chose Ibadan because he was from Oshobo. And then he grew up partially in Lagos. So let me be in a neutral ground, so I think it'll be a little bit safe based on what you hear from other people. But you have to decide, I'm going to make a sacrifice. And one of the sacrifices that my husband and I did while we were still in U.S., we were in New Orleans. We had 3 commercial buildings, and we decided to scale down. We had 6 apartments, scale down to 1. The rest money we can save. That wasn't easy because there was limited privacy between my husband and I because the children were in the bedroom. You get what I'm saying? But it was a sacrifice. But what I do is only temporarily. It's not forever. It's temporary. If you have to escort, I don't know what y'all call it here, roommate with somebody. Some people call it escort. You take it's only temporarily, maybe 1 year. And I know I will save $50,000 every month or whatever your goal is. You do what you have to do. As long as you're not cheating, stealing, robbing anybody like that. And when that time's up, because you have a plan now. The only reason why people fail because they lack of a plan. They don't have a plan. You set a deadline that you have measurable goals. But in 1 year's time, I'm going to save up enough money, then I'm going to do this. But in the meantime, I'm going to be buying my own equipment like I did with my school.
Yes.
I'm going to be buying it little at a time and store it somewhere. So when I'm ready to branch out, I'm ready. You understand? And then, of course, with your faith, everything will come together. There's no if, and, or buts about it. Long as you're doing things in line with the Word of God. And that's one of the reasons why I say I don't believe in bribe, because I think that's against the Word of God. It may be in the Bible. I don't know. I'm not a Bible scholar.
It's not in the Bible.
I'm not a Bible scholar.
It's not in the Bible.
But it's so common here. It was difficult for me to adjust to that, and I still haven't adjusted to it. And I've been here 22 years, and I haven't. I just can't. You know, it's different. You grew up with it, so it's like the norm. But for an outsider coming, it's like, what? They won't give me my contract unless I do this or I do that. Wow. But I just believe, like with my daughter, her passion, we paid her first semester in the university. She got a scholarship.
Wow.
But she didn't want it. She didn't take it because it was at a predominantly white school. And she wanted to be at a predominantly black school. There's a difference. My first degree was predominantly black school. We call it HBCU, Historical Black College. But my second degree was predominantly white school. You know, I'm coming from a different background. You have to play their game. I know I have my heritage here. They mold me. They help build me up. They help strengthen me for where I was going. I was ready for racism. I was ready for discrimination. I was ready for all of that because I went to an all-black school. So by the time I got to, they say, why did you go to school? You won't make it. You won't graduate. I said, I will graduate. And it was 3% black in the school. And I still graduate on schedule. But God sent, which y'all call Oyibo to me, and that man was my mentor. So not everybody is bad. You understand? And he would say, okay, Lola, I bought this the professor. It's like when we get our schedule, you may have 10 people teaching English. You get to choose which professor you want. 10 people teaching math. You get to choose the one you want. So he would tell me which ones to avoid so they won't give me a difficult time. based on the history of the school.
Hmm.
You understand? So, and I followed, and I'm like, is this man serious? Is it a setup or what? Let me try and see. And he helped me all the way through. So God will send someone into your life to help you pull through some difficult times.
Hmm.
And that's what that man did for me. He was from Oklahoma, of all places. I'm like, Oklahoma, in the middle of nowhere. But I don't know, he just gravitated to me, and he's like, I like you. Let me help get you through. He did. So I guess with that, it's like, let me help some people too. I can remember I dropped out of high school.
Hmm.
That's why I say it's not a rosy background. So everything wasn't perfect. And because where's the money? Who's gonna sponsor me? So now I sponsor about 9 children in my school.
Wow.
Yes, 9 to be exact. They don't pay tuition, so I'm still giving back. I was blessed. Nobody sponsored me, unfortunately, but God still put me in position to make it through. He placed people in my life, in my path, to help encourage me. You understand? That professor helped me. If I probably would have gotten in the hands of the wrong professor, I would have been repeating. But I didn't repeat not one course. I maintained my AB average, and I graduated on time. So that's how God works. You sow in, and somebody will sow into you. And I think that's what happened to me.
Amazing. Still on this idea of survival thingy, right? We are also at a time where there's this learn a skill, learn this, learn that. And you can find someone who has this, that all together. And I get to ask, when will this ever end? Now, and I've always tried to look for the balance to say, what is it really all about? Is it just to say there's this new skill, let's learn it. There's this new style, let's learn it. Especially during COVID-19, there was that thing with learn this skill, learn this one, learn this, learn that, which is not bad. But then my question is, where is the balance in all of this?
Well,
to say that we can't just be learning skills and adding skills.
Unless you want to be obsolete. Unless you want to be obsolete. You're no more valuable. There's no more, you're no longer useful.
So that's a question.
I had a skill.
So that's a question. When does it actually becomes a question of being valuable as against surviving?
When you're in line. When you're in line with your calling and the will of God, that's what I have to say. When you know this is what I really enjoy doing, then you can stay 100% focused. You forget about survival skills, because God's going to bring people into your life, so you don't have to worry about that again. You understand? Things, like I said, to get that land, it was just like, we even asked, how did we do it? we know we went, we worked, we did everything, but certain things would happen. I can remember even when we bought our land for our house that we live in now. One particular football player, I designed the shirt because we were in screen printing, and the land I'd already chosen, we didn't have the money. So we was like, how are we going to come up with this money? I said, I don't know. I designed one shirt, and the guy signed the shirt for me, and we sold. If you know anything about American football, we sold out before halftime. I gathered that money, rushed down to Nigeria. Guy had to close the deal. They tried to sell the land to somebody else, and it was $50,000 more. And I'm like, oh my God, I just have just enough to pay for the agreement that we made and for my accommodations while I'm here until I go back to America. This is how God, you in line. The next day, the exchange rate, it shot up. It was just enough for me to seal the deal. So when you in line, if you're on the right path, God will do some things to make things work. I had no idea how I was going to come up. $50,000 in 1994 was a lot of money. How was I going to come up with $50,000? I'm in Nigeria. Where am I going to get it from? My husband didn't have. We scraped up everything from that one football game. We made the money to buy the land. And I get it, they increased it, and they said, well, we're going to have to give it to the other person. Then I said, Lord, I came all this way, blah, 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 blah. I wasn't very religious. I was just talking out the exchange rate the next day. And it was exactly the $50,000 that I needed. And that's how I closed the deal. That's God. That's God. I had we was like, that day, we was like devastated. And I'm like, what do we do? I said, if not, I'm glad the lawyer told me, because they was going to 419 me. That was the plan.
Ooh.
Yes. They was going to take the money from me when they've already given the property to someone else. So it would have been a loss. So thank God the lawyer, maybe God spoke to him, don't do this to this lady. I don't know. But he shared with me saying they increased it. I can let you talk to their lawyer and see what they want to do. And the people, they gave it to me. They gave me the documents, the plans, and everything. And that's how we acquired the land. So I just believe that some things you have to take a risk. If you're an entrepreneur, you have to be a risk taker. You have to be. There's no guarantee things going to turn out the way you anticipate, but at least there's some things you can learn from that process, so you won't make the same mistake again, or you can use that to move on to the next project. Everything is trial and error. Only God knows the future. We're just doing what we think at the moment, but it's for God to fine tune it and align it with our vision. So that's just my belief. Honestly speaking, I don't think there's anything I ever wanted that God didn't give it to me.
Amazing.
Honestly.
There's this thing also that people say most of the time. They'll say passion don't pay the bills.
It's not true.
Great. So
it's not true.
I like you to shed light into that.
When you talk about skills, my skill was typing, because I did a degree in business education. My skill was typing. When we type like this. You notice I didn't look at my typing paper. We don't look at the keys. We know the keys. We know where every key is. So I was typing 110 words a minute. Any job you went to asked for 65 words maximum. So did I not align myself in position to get jobs as an administrator? So that's the first thing to do, to give you a typing test. And when your time is up, the machine stops. You can't do tick, get another alphabet in. It stops. They would have to retest me because they think something is wrong. Yes, because I was doing 110 words a minute. That was my passion. I love to type. My passion put me through the university. Remember, I had no parents. I had nobody to pay my university school fee. So on your paper, our papers was always had to be typed. Oh, I type it. Oh, late. Oh, charge you extra money. Boom. Next. I would have types lined up. That's my husband. So I worked from home from my typewriter. And it wasn't computer back then. It was IBM, so you couldn't afford mistakes. You can't go and do TPEX and no. It was not acceptable. So I had to have accuracy. When you typing, if you applying for a job, they give you a typing test. You could have not more than 3 mistakes in that minute, and your goal was to at least do 65 words a minute. I would do 110 because that was my speed. So anywhere I applied, I always got a job offer. They're like, "Is this real?" They always retest me because they just can't believe it.
So the question now then is that, so why is it that some are doing what they are passionate about, but they are not joyful in that?
Something is missing in the equation. Something is missing in the equation. If you enjoy what you like, my daughter, she enjoys what she's doing. I don't think she can do anything else. Like she said, "Mom, I never worked for anybody. I can't go work for anybody. I've been on my own since I was 17, making my own money." So there's something that's missing. Maybe, like I said, you could have 3-4 different passions, but you have to narrow it down. Which one is the most important to you that will make you feel totally fulfilled? Which one is it? Is it music? Is this just a producer? Is it just being a writer? Which one? And then if you know that one, then that's the one you should focus on after a certain point in your life. Now I can put all my energy in this. And then placement. You have to make sure you're in the right environment. Like we were in Tennessee. The big money was in California. My daughter said, "Mom, I'm moving to California where the money is." Like some people say Lagos, or some people say Abuja. And that's what she did. I said, "I'm following you out. I need to know where you're going to be." So I followed her out to California. She didn't know anybody. And she was there, and she had to redo her license because it was a different state. And she's been on her own. She's never worked for anybody in her entire life. She's 46 years old. She's never worked for anybody. She said, "I can't do it." My boys, they went to U.S. to finish school here. They both got scholarships. We went there. I said, "Okay, you need to get your part-time job so you can have your own pocket money. I can't be taking Naira, turning it to dollars and sending it to you." My baby boy, unfortunately, he's the one that wanted to go into computer science. He worked 1 week, and he saw the paycheck. He said, "Oh, no, I can't do this. I can't do this." And he quit.
Wow.
Because they were not used to work, because they worked in the family business. So they were not used to drawing a paycheck. He was like, "Who gonna work for this little money?" "Mama, I can't do it. I can't do it." I said, "Cool, that's your pocket." "Mama, I can't do that." And my oldest son is the one now that's in computer. He's in tech. So they just feel, and after the third week, he said, no, I can't do it either. He said, because what you all pattern us for, sometimes your parents will pattern you. All they knew was business because they worked in the business. Sometimes they make $300-400 a day as teenagers. That's a lot of money in America. We paid them just like we paid adults. They wasn't working for free, but we was giving them skill. And now they have the skill. They have the buying and selling skill. So it's just, like I said, it's passion, and they knew this is not for me. 9 to 5, it's not for me. So only one of my children is doing the 9 to 5. All the other 4 is business.
So let's go to the part where I feel so strongly about.
Okay.
How you started that. Now you have to mediate between parents and children, and you have to emphasize that, especially in this part of the world.
Yes.
Number one, why do you think that is happening? What do you think is causing that kind of phenomenon where a parent insists that this is what my child has to do?
I think it's stereotype, keeping up with the Joneses. Oh, my friend over there, she has one doctor, one lawyer, one engineer. I want one doctor, one lawyer, one engineer. That's what I think. It's not that that's what the children want. Some do, but then some don't. Look at, Dr. B. He's come here several times. I think, is it the daughter or the son said, I don't want to be a medical doctor, but he works as an administrator. I can't remember if it's the daughter. Dr. B that owns the hospital.
Okay, yeah.
Maybe I'm mispronouncing his
Dr.
name.
Abib.
Yes. And one of his children, they thought, I don't want to be a doctor. I think he even read medicine, but
Yeah.
now he's an administrator. So that's his
Yes.
calling. You see what I'm saying? But he did what he had to do to get where he is now. And now the father has laid the foundation. That's a ready-made job, and he just walked into it. So it just depends, Everybody has to soul search and decide for themselves. Like I said, a lot of the musicians, you read their stories. Look at Cobham. Cobham. He's blind.
Yes.
He read law. He's a lawyer by profession, but his calling is music. His calling is music. He's a music producer, and that's what he's doing today. That doesn't mean he can't practice. I don't know if he's practicing or not, but I know he's doing music, and I know he's producing. So again, it just depends for you to settle down and say. And his challenge was a lot because his parents put more focuses on the other children who were not blind, did not have any disabilities. So it happens. So it takes an individual to decide, what do I truly want to do? And I think it's more difficult for females, because what I notice, I hire females in my school, and once they get married, they'll be like, no, let's go. Then they move to wherever the husband, they home. Mom, bored. Mom. I'm like, well, you have to figure it out between you and your husband. So we make I made the sacrifice coming here. I had a lucrative career.
Don't play now.
I was making good money before I came to Nigeria. And that's why my family what is wrong with you? How can you leave your job? You're making all this money. But I'm not a materialistic person. I know who I am. I'm not a materialist. I gave up my car.
So that point of identity is also critical. Knowing who you are.
Yes. Some people is like, oh, I need everybody to know I have a ride. I have a car. I had a car at 16. What's the big deal? What's the big deal? It's a car. Anybody can do it. I worked. I saved my money. I bought my car. Who can't do it? Anybody. Mindset. Focus. Goals. Planning. That's all it takes.
So what would your advice to parents now? Thankfully, you've been able to tell us some of the observations, the stereotyping thing, and of course, based on your experience and the advice you've given to parents over the years.
Excuse me, let me ask you this. Did you fall into that same scenario?
No.
Okay, you're one of the lucky ones.
Yeah, I think so. Because
wow.
I had to do several things in between, and my parents just said, okay, whatever
they
you
release you. Oh, you were lucky. You were lucky. Honestly speaking, you were lucky.
So now, what will be your advice to parents? So lastly, just two things now. Your advice to parents who are raising children in terms of helping their children discover who they are as against impressing on what they want, and number two, for anyone right now who is currently doing a whole lot of things but can't find fulfillment, what should they be doing now?
Okay, my advice to parents would be pay close attention to your children. Notice the things they gravitate to. This one likes computers. This one likes sports. No, like with my children, I told them, I will pay for you to do any sports you want to do, but if you start the season, you must finish the season. You don't get halfway and say, "Oh, it's too rough, I quit." No, we're not having quitters. You're gonna finish the season, and that was, and they continued with their sports throughout their career until they came to Nigeria: basketball, football, baseball, wrestling, track. All of them. That's what they all did, and we had to pay for those things. Align with your children, and make some
Align with your children.
tough love decisions. Tough love decision. I'll give you an example. My oldest son, he was an outstanding athlete. He was good, can run, very fast. They used to say, "I need Lord of London insurance on his legs," because he was so powerful in his skill. But as a young boy, he knew it. But then he would relax. "I don't need to practice, Mom. I know how to do this. I know how to run the plays." He was a quarterback. And those times mostly went to Caucasians, because there was a brain thinkers of the sports.
Okay.
And he was always a quarterback. He was always a quarterback. If they didn't give him quarterback, they'd give him running back. They wanted to catch the receiver, and he would run with the ball because he was fast. This is what I did to that boy. I took him out of our zone and put him in another zone where I knew players was much better than him. I said, "Now go perform over there." We had to drive him to school another long distance, but it was a message I was trying to get across to him. You don't get conceited, because my heart is going out to that little boy that's working real hard, who don't even get to play. You know, in sports, you play the best players. And my son never sat on the bench.
Wow.
Never. He was good. He always started. So when I sent him to this school, and I knew those boys was really, really good, he sat on the bench. Oh, he was fuming. That's the best lesson I could have ever given him in his lifetime. To today, he still remembers it. So now, when it's time for practice, he give it 110%. I said, because it's not fair to those children who are trying hard to meet up so that they can start, at least get in the game and play, even if it's just for 2-3 minutes. He sat on the bench because those people didn't know what he was capable of doing, because he went with that conceited, that attitude. So they didn't know. So finally, I was there. The last quarter, they brought him in. He ran all over the field. They had to take him out of the game. And they said, "We didn't know this boy was this good." I said, "I knew." So they took him out. He just scoring, leaping over people's heads, just going, spinning, doing everything, making touchdowns. But there was a lesson taught. From now on, when you do something, you give it 110%, regardless of how good you think you are. And I let him remain in that school because I believe that you partner people with people who are better than them, and that will help mold them to be better. They'll strive to be better. Because it's one thing to get to the top. It's another thing to stay there, to maintain that status. So that, parents, study your children. You see signs. I saw signs in my daughter. The only daughter that I didn't see signs was my middle daughter. I didn't figure her out because she was like, you have one child, it's just whatever. I couldn't figure, and I kept saying, "What do you want to do? What do you want to become? Help me to mold you. Give me something to work with." But I couldn't figure it out. But all the others I did. So that's what parents have to do. And encourage them. Allow them to make mistakes. You learn from mistakes. No one is perfect. No one out there is perfect. No one. Everybody made some mistakes along the way. Trials and errors, they're going to come. Study them. Seek. Try to decide what they want and build a relationship of communication with your children. Make sure you communicate very well, so when they say, "Mom, I know you want me to read medicine, but I really want to be an engineer. I really want to be an engineer." Then the mother could say, "You know what? I noticed that because you're always dismantling all the gadgets around the house. I noticed that about you. Is it electrical engineer?" So you will see signs in your children if you monitor. But because of survival mode, we're too busy working. Like my parents, "Miss ADEOLA, I don't have time. Miss ADEOLA, I don't come home 9 o'clock at night. I don't have time for that's for you to do, the school to do." So that's where some of our issues lies. Our parents need more time. I gave up. I put my career on hold because of my children. I put my career on hold in 93. And I didn't go back to work until I came to Nigeria. That was a sacrifice I made for my children. Because I wanted to be the one to mold my morals and values into my children. So, again, study them. Know this one is good as this one is good as that. And then sometimes they won't agree with you. But you just try to find a way to find balance. But you're the one that's going to pay the school fees. But if you offer them a deal, okay, you want to read that, then you pay your own tuition. Me, yes, because I'm not going to invest in that. Some parents do that, and they walk away, and that child end up excelling and become very successful. That's how. Look at my husband. I use him for example. He was totally against it. He was told, God forbid, as they say here in Nigeria. That's what he. I said, what do you mean? God will not forbid anything. This is a calling, and that's what she's doing now, till today. And she's the breadwinner of the family. Anybody call Shamika? And I've wondered. I'm like, how do people pay you this kind of money to do what? She said, Mom, I'm working, and that's her passion. She can work 2, 3 in the morning doing hair, but that's what she loves, and it's not tired, because that's what she loves doing. I work sometime 1, 2 in the morning, something for school. Are you coming? I'm coming. That's my passion. You will know. You will see the signs. They'll be so engrossed into that thing. You have to know this is what this child wants to do. So we have to be very mindful of our children and try to guide them.
Man, I want to say thank you very much. I feel this has leaned more into educating parents and helping young people out there to discover who they are. And this just to encourage someone out there. Yes, you may have grown up with a parents that told you, no, this you can't do, or you might just have been left on your own to figure out life, and then you're just here to survive. We want you to know that your life is more than survival. Yes. We want you to know that there's a call on God for your life. We want you to know that you can still calm down and figure things out. We want you to know that you can still find fulfillment with what you're passionate about. And we believe that all of these lessons will help you. And I want to say again, thank you very much. Thank you for your patience. Pleasure. Thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for doing this with us here. It's been a pleasure. So that's how we wrap things up for this edition of World Bank Kingdom Conversation. The conversation still continues next week. Hard work is not the problem, alignment is. So we're learning about hard work, we're learning about alignment, how to align our hard work and to what is it that we've been called to do. And it's my hope that this journey will help someone out there into a moment of discovery and rediscovery also. So thank you very much for watching this. Thank you for staying tuned. We go again next week. Don't forget also that this Saturday is our leadership meeting. Yes, it's our leadership meeting, 7 a.m. And also on Sunday, we resume service time, 8 a.m. for the Real Success Seminar, where we are learning about how to build the operating systems that will run your life and business. And for network service by 9:30 a.m., we're learning about alignment with God. So ensure to follow us on all our social media platforms and just following everything that we do here. And you are welcome at any time to fellowship with us and to do and just observe and just to just be a part of everything that we do here. And I know that God will bless you. So till I see you next time, I say God bless you and bye for now.